Philip Sheridan was a fierce cavalry commander and relentless military strategist who became one of the Union's most celebrated generals. Philip Henry Sheridan, the third commanding general of the United States Army, was born on March 6, 1831, though the exact location of his birth remains disputed. Some records indicate Albany, New York, while others suggest he was born at sea during his family's immigration from Ireland. He came from humble Irish immigrant roots. He had a compact, muscular build, standing just 5 feet 5 inches tall. Sheridan's early years were spent in Somerset, Ohio, where his family settled when he was a young child. He attended local schools in Ohio and showed an aptitude for mathematics and military tactics. In 1848, at the age of 17, Sheridan received an appointment to the United States Military Academy at West Point through his local congressman. His time at West Point was marked by both promise and controversy. Sheridan was suspended for 1 year after he attacked a fellow cadet with a bayonet during an argument. This incident revealed the fiery temper that would characterize his military career. He graduated in 1853, ranking 34th in a class of 52 cadets. After graduation, Sheridan was commissioned as a second lieutenant and assigned to the 1st Infantry Regiment at Fort Duncan, Texas. He spent the next several years serving at various frontier posts in Texas and the Pacific Northwest. Sheridan fought against Native American tribes in the Yakima War and the Rogue River Wars. These early experiences on the frontier taught him valuable lessons about unconventional warfare, rapid movement, and living off the land. He learned to be resourceful and aggressive. Sheridan developed a reputation as a capable officer who was not afraid of hardship or danger. When the Civil War erupted in 1861, Sheridan was serving as a captain in the regular army. He was initially assigned to administrative duties in Missouri, working as a quartermaster and commissary officer. This was frustrating work for an ambitious officer eager to prove himself in combat. Sheridan repeatedly requested transfer to a combat command. His persistence paid off when he was appointed colonel of the 2nd Michigan Cavalry in May 1862. Within weeks, he was promoted to command a cavalry brigade. Sheridan's first major engagement came at the Battle of Boonville in Mississippi in July 1862. Despite being outnumbered, Sheridan launched an aggressive attack against Confederate cavalry forces, routing them completely. This victory brought him to the attention of his superiors. His bold tactics and willingness to take risks impressed the Union High Command. In September 1862, Sheridan was promoted to brigadier general and given command of an infantry division in the Army of the Ohio. Sheridan led his division with distinction at the Battle of Perryville in October 1862. His troops held a critical position on the Union left flank, repelling repeated Confederate attacks. At the Battle of Stones River in December 1862 and January 1863, Sheridan's division again proved its mettle. On the first day of battle, Confederate forces shattered much of the Union right flank, but Sheridan's division held firm. His men fought desperately, conducting a fighting withdrawal that allowed the Union Army to establish a new defensive line. Sheridan's stand at Stones River may have saved the Army of the Cumberland from complete disaster. The performance at Stones River earned Sheridan promotion to Major General of Volunteers in March 1863. He was now one of the rising stars of the Union Army. At the Battle of Chickamauga in September 1863, Sheridan's division was caught in the catastrophic breakthrough that sent much of the Union Army fleeing toward Chattanooga. Sheridan managed to keep his division relatively intact during the retreat, establishing defensive positions that covered the withdrawal of other Union forces. Though Chickamauga was a Union defeat, Sheridan's conduct in the battle enhanced his reputation. The turning point in Sheridan's career came at the Battle of Chattanooga in November 1863. During the assault on Missionary Ridge, Sheridan's division was part of the force ordered to seize the rifle pits at the base of the Confederate position. After taking the rifle pits, Sheridan's men, along with other Union divisions, spontaneously charged up the steep slopes of Missionary Ridge without orders. Sheridan rode among his men, urging them forward. The Confederate line broke, and the Union forces achieved a stunning victory. Sheridan's role in the Missionary Ridge assault brought him to the attention of Ulysses S. Grant, the Union's most successful general. In the spring of 1864, Grant was promoted to lieutenant general and given command of all Union armies. Grant went east to direct operations against Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia. He brought Sheridan with him, appointing him commander of the Cavalry Corps of the Army of the Potomac. This was a crucial assignment. The Union cavalry in the Eastern Theater had long been inferior to Confederate cavalry led by the legendary J.E.B. Stuart. Sheridan was determined to change that. Sheridan transformed the Union cavalry from a reconnaissance and screening force into an offensive weapon. He concentrated his cavalry into large formations capable of independent operations. In May 1864, during Grant's Overland Campaign, Sheridan led his cavalry corps on a raid toward Richmond, the Confederate capital. The raid was designed to draw out Confederate cavalry and destroy it in open battle. At the Battle of Yellow Tavern on May 11, 1864, Sheridan's cavalry defeated Stuart's Confederate horsemen. During the battle, J.E.B. Stuart was mortally wounded. The death of Stuart was a devastating blow to Confederate morale and military effectiveness. Sheridan continued to lead aggressive cavalry operations throughout the spring and summer of 1864. His troopers tore up railroads, destroyed supply depots, and disrupted Confederate communications. Sheridan's cavalry fought at the Battle of Trevilian Station, the largest all-cavalry battle of the war, in June 1864. Though the battle was tactically inconclusive, it demonstrated that Union cavalry could now fight Confederate cavalry on equal terms. In August 1864, Grant gave Sheridan an independent command in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. The Shenandoah Valley was known as the breadbasket of the Confederacy, providing food and supplies to Lee's army. Confederate forces under General Jubal Early had used the valley as a route to threaten Washington, D.C. Grant ordered Sheridan to defeat Early's army and destroy the valley's capacity to support the Confederate war effort. Sheridan was given command of the Army of the Shenandoah, a force of approximately 40,000 men. Sheridan moved cautiously at first, carefully positioning his forces. In September 1864, he launched a series of attacks that drove Early's army up the valley. At the Third Battle of Winchester on September 19, 1864, Sheridan's forces defeated Early in a hard-fought engagement. 3 days later, at the Battle of Fisher's Hill, Sheridan routed Early's army, sending Confederate forces fleeing southward. These victories opened the Shenandoah Valley to Union control. Following his victories, Sheridan began implementing Grant's orders to destroy the valley's resources. Union troops burned barns, mills, and crops. They confiscated or destroyed livestock. Sheridan's campaign of destruction was systematic and thorough. He later wrote that a crow flying over the valley would need to carry its own rations. The devastation was intended to prevent the valley from ever again supporting Confederate military operations. It was total war, directed not just at enemy armies but at the economic resources that sustained them. In October 1864, while Sheridan was away at a conference, Early's army launched a surprise attack on Union forces camped at Cedar Creek. The Confederate assault shattered 2 Union corps and sent thousands of Union soldiers fleeing northward. Sheridan was at Winchester, 20 miles away, when he heard the sound of artillery. He immediately mounted his horse, Rienzi, and rode toward the battle. Along the way, he encountered streams of retreating soldiers. Sheridan rallied the fleeing troops, turning them around and leading them back to the battlefield. His personal presence electrified the Union forces. Sheridan reorganized his army and launched a counterattack in the afternoon. The Union forces swept forward, driving Early's Confederates from the field and turning a devastating defeat into a stunning victory. The Battle of Cedar Creek became one of the most dramatic turnarounds of the war. Sheridan's ride from Winchester to Cedar Creek became legendary, celebrated in poetry and popular culture. The victory at Cedar Creek effectively ended the Confederate threat in the Shenandoah Valley and helped secure Abraham Lincoln's re-election in November 1864. For his victories in the Shenandoah Valley, Sheridan was promoted to Major General in the regular army in November 1864. He was now one of the Union's most celebrated commanders, ranking alongside Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman. Sheridan returned to the Army of the Potomac in early 1865 to participate in the final campaigns against Lee's army. In late March 1865, Sheridan's cavalry and infantry forces defeated Confederate troops at the Battle of Five Forks, turning Lee's right flank and forcing the evacuation of Petersburg and Richmond. Sheridan's aggressive pursuit of Lee's retreating army helped bring about the Confederate surrender. At Appomattox Courthouse on April 9, 1865, Sheridan's cavalry blocked Lee's line of retreat, forcing the Confederate commander to seek terms. Sheridan was present at the surrender, and he purchased the table on which the surrender documents were signed as a gift for General George Armstrong Custer's wife. After the war, Sheridan was assigned to command the Military Division of the Gulf, overseeing reconstruction in Louisiana and Texas. His harsh policies toward former Confederates and his support for African American rights brought him into conflict with President Andrew Johnson. Sheridan was removed from command in the South in 1867 and reassigned to the Department of the Missouri. In his new assignment, Sheridan oversaw military operations against Native American tribes on the Great Plains. He developed a strategy of total warfare similar to what he had employed in the Shenandoah Valley. Sheridan ordered attacks on Native American villages during winter months when tribes were most vulnerable. He advocated for the destruction of buffalo herds, recognizing that the buffalo were essential to Plains Indian culture and survival. Sheridan reportedly said that buffalo hunters were doing more to settle the Indian question than the entire regular army. While this quote may be apocryphal, it reflected his approach to Indian warfare. Sheridan's campaigns against Native American tribes were ruthlessly effective. The Battle of the Washita in November 1868, where Lieutenant Colonel Custer attacked a Cheyenne village, was typical of Sheridan's strategy. The campaign destroyed villages, food supplies, and pony herds, forcing tribes onto reservations. Sheridan's Indian Wars remain controversial, viewed by many as brutal campaigns that destroyed Native American ways of life. In 1869, Sheridan was promoted to lieutenant general and given command of the Military Division of the Missouri, one of the Army's most important commands. He oversaw the construction of forts and the expansion of American settlement across the West. Sheridan also took an interest in the preservation of natural wonders. He visited Yellowstone in 1882 and advocated for its protection, helping to establish it as a national park. When William Tecumseh Sherman retired as commanding general of the Army in 1883, Sheridan succeeded him. As commanding general, Sheridan worked to modernize and professionalize the Army. He advocated for improved training, better equipment, and higher standards for officers. He supported the establishment of the School of Application for Infantry and Cavalry at Fort Leavenworth. Sheridan believed the Army needed to prepare for future conflicts through professional military education. In 1888, Congress promoted Sheridan to the rank of general, making him only the third person to hold that rank after George Washington and Ulysses S. Grant. The promotion came as Sheridan's health was failing. He had suffered from heart disease for several years. On August 5, 1888, Philip Sheridan died at his summer home in Nonquit, Massachusetts. He was 57 years old. Sheridan's funeral was a major national event. His body lay in state in Washington, D.C., where thousands of mourners paid their respects. President Grover Cleveland and former President Rutherford B. Hayes attended the funeral. Sheridan was buried at Arlington National Cemetery. His monument there depicts him mounted on his horse Rienzi, forever frozen in his famous ride to Cedar Creek. Philip Sheridan's legacy is complex and multifaceted. As a Civil War commander, he was one of the Union's most effective generals. His aggressive tactics, his ability to inspire troops, and his understanding of total warfare contributed significantly to Union victory. Sheridan grasped that modern war required the destruction of an enemy's capacity to wage war, not just the defeat of enemy armies on the battlefield. His campaigns in the Shenandoah Valley demonstrated this understanding. Sheridan was a master of cavalry operations, transforming the Union cavalry from an inferior force into a war-winning weapon. He understood how to concentrate cavalry for maximum effect and how to use cavalry independently for strategic objectives. His raids disrupted Confederate logistics and communications, contributing to the collapse of Confederate resistance. His relationship with Ulysses S. Grant was crucial to his success. Grant recognized Sheridan's talents and gave him opportunities to demonstrate them. Sheridan, in turn, executed Grant's strategic vision with energy and determination. The partnership between Grant and Sheridan was one of the most effective command relationships of the war. Sheridan's personal characteristics shaped his military career. He was aggressive, sometimes to the point of recklessness. He was combative and confrontational, qualities that served him well in battle but sometimes created difficulties in peacetime assignments. Sheridan was fiercely loyal to his friends and subordinates, but he could be harsh toward those he considered incompetent or disloyal. His temper, evident from his days at West Point, remained a defining characteristic throughout his life. In his campaigns against Native Americans, Sheridan applied the same principles of total warfare that had brought him success in the Civil War. He sought to destroy the enemy's ability and will to resist by attacking their resources and infrastructure. While militarily effective, these campaigns resulted in immense suffering for Native American peoples and the destruction of their traditional ways of life. Modern assessments of Sheridan must grapple with this aspect of his career. Sheridan married Irene Rucker in 1875 when he was 44 and she was 22. They had 4 children together. By all accounts, Sheridan was a devoted husband and father. His family life provided a contrast to his fierce military persona. Sheridan enjoyed reading, particularly military history and biography. He wrote his memoirs in the 1880s, providing valuable first-hand accounts of the Civil War and the Indian Wars. Philip Sheridan never sought political office, unlike many of his fellow generals. He remained a professional soldier throughout his life, dedicated to the army and its mission. He avoided the political controversies that entangled some of his contemporaries. Sheridan believed in the subordination of military authority to civilian control, even when he disagreed with civilian policies. His contributions to American military thought were significant. Sheridan demonstrated the importance of mobility, aggressive action, and the destruction of enemy resources. He showed that cavalry could be a decisive arm when properly organized and employed. His emphasis on professional military education influenced the development of the modern American officer corps. Sheridan's career spanned a transformative period in American history. He participated in the conquest of the frontier, the Civil War, Reconstruction, and the final subjugation of Native American tribes. He witnessed and contributed to the expansion of American power across the continent. His life reflected both the achievements and the moral complexities of American expansion in the 19th century. In death, Philip Sheridan was remembered as a hero of the Union, a brilliant cavalry commander, and a faithful servant of the nation. His famous ride to Cedar Creek remained a symbol of courage and leadership. His victories in the Shenandoah Valley were celebrated as turning points in the Civil War. Monuments and statues were erected in his honor. Cities, counties, and military installations were named after him. Yet Sheridan's legacy also includes the destruction he wrought, both in the Shenandoah Valley and on the Great Plains. The total warfare he practiced was effective but devastating. The campaigns against Native Americans, while achieving their military objectives, resulted in the loss of lives, cultures, and ways of life. Any complete assessment of Sheridan must acknowledge both his military brilliance and the human cost of his campaigns. Philip Sheridan was a warrior who embodied the aggressive spirit of 19th-century American expansion. He was a small man with an outsized impact on American history. From his humble beginnings as the son of Irish immigrants, he rose to become one of the nation's most celebrated military leaders. His courage, his tactical skill, and his relentless determination made him indispensable to Union victory in the Civil War. His campaign shaped the American West and the fate of Native American peoples. Philip Sheridan remains a figure of enduring historical significance, a general whose career illuminates both the triumphs and the tragedies of American military history.